I can admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about this. Perez Hilton here, the queen of all media, the gossip gangsta, the original influencer, and your number one source for everything It Ends With Us saga. As I have been painstakingly chronicling for the past 24 hours, allegedly premenopausal Blake Lively has... That was a joke, by the way, if I wasn't explicit. Don't sue me, okay? But actually, if you do sue me, I won't be too bothered because your lawyers are so Z-list. They keep being downgraded. Her lawyers are sloppy, inaccurate, and can't even do basic math. But I was wrong. As I began covering Toothless Blake's amended lawsuit, I thought, am I gonna change my thoughts? Is she really gonna show me that she is not absolutely full of S-H-I-T? And I was quickly proven wrong. Thus far, going chronologically through the amended lawsuit, the hair care professional and her lawyers have not made a very strong case. There are little to no receipts. There's a ton of hearsay, a lot of pinky promises of things to come, witnesses that will testify, discovery that will happen, but the newly filed lawsuit is just more words. And let's pick up where we left off. The marketing of the movie. In advance of the release of the film, nearly all cast members chose to appear in public separately from Mr. Baldoni, given his on-set behavior. If I am reading that line correctly, that means that nearly all of the actors in the movie will testify and corroborate her claims, right? Because they saw his alleged on-set behavior. He needs to go to trial and not settle, just re-emphasizing that. Mr. Baldoni became concerned that the public would discover that something is much bigger under the surface on information and belief, alluding to the complaints lodged by Miss Lively and others. At that point, being ostracized by the cast, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from a message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. After the film's premiere, which she had him banished to the basement banisher. After the film's premiere, Mr. Baldoni changed his Instagram profile, canceled lighthearted social media posts, and instructed his team to look for survivor reactions and support, all in an effort to quickly shift his own public narrative to focus solely on survivors and domestic violence organizations. Lies. He had been working with domestic violence organizations and survivors for the entirety of this process, as he documented with receipts in his amended lawsuit. Taylor Swift's former bestie, words. We know she loves to text. And Justin Baldoni, receipts. Oh, well, look at this. A little receipt. Very, very shockingly rare. Included in the amended complaint is an email from Justin Baldoni to his publicist. It says, "Hey, just landed. What is the TikTok strategy? I'd like you guys to start posting me only talking about domestic violence and clips and why this movie is important." Where is all of the other context about him doing this to make himself look better and shift the narrative? He would probably argue that this was important to him and has always been important to him, and it was getting lost in the film's messaging. And once the film was already a success, he could then re-emphasize this. Miss Abel cautioned Mr. Baldoni that this shift might be too drastic too soon. Still, Mr. Baldoni insisted on a TikTok strategy, and his promotional activities for the film should seek to amplify what he described as survivor content. The team followed Mr. Baldoni's instructions. For her part, Miss Abel advised Mr. Baldoni on August 8th that creating content about domestic violence would be acceptable following his initial marketing push. Quote, "It doesn't feel performative now that you've done major substantial press on the topic." There's a receipt there too. Thanks, Steph Jones. On August 11th, Miss Abel, his publicist, cynically advised Mr. Baldoni that exploiting content relating to survivors of domestic violence could help advance his public image. In her words, she advised Mr. Baldoni that pushing out survivor content first thing tomorrow would be helpful for the news cycle. Thankfully, she included the full receipt here, where it actually says, "Theater surprise," meaning him showing up at a screening, and then I think survivor content first thing tomorrow a.m., which then will be helpful for news cycle. An important reminder is that by this point, actually, thank you. Thank you to the Betty Boo's boss. Let's go with it. This is their strategy. This is not retaliation. Even if he did do this to make himself look better, he didn't hurt her in doing that. This was not retaliation. By this point, there were already a lot of negative headlines around the movie and the filming, and it was just a lot. And it's absolutely good advice from a publicist to say this to her client. Remember, it was his publicist to him, okay? By repositioning Mr. Baldoni's marketing of the film on information and belief, Mr. Baldoni hoped, this is all hearsay, on information and belief. What is your information? Oh my God. They better deliver in trial or they're going to lose, because you know how many times they've used the phrase on information and belief in this amended lawsuit? Too many to count. But if you have counted, let me know in the comments section. Mr. Baldoni hoped to create the false impression that he had chosen not to appear alongside other cast members. Mr. Baldoni directed his team to share on his public IG feed the private messages he had received from survivors sharing their stories of domestic violence with him. Mr. Baldoni's team talked him out of these ideas, writing they do not recommend using private DMs as content. Mr. Baldoni went so far as proposing to share a video of a woman's birth moment, but his team talked him out of it, warning that it might be perceived as weird and was too intimate. Still, Mr. Baldoni's team was more than willing to deploy survivors' stories, reactions, and images to protect Mr. Baldoni's image. And then Mr. Baldoni and his team formulate a retaliatory plan, which we will get to in the next video. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry for the cliffhangers, but there's just so much to get to. And until I see you shortly to address that, let's discuss in the comments section all that we have gone through together, my friend. Now, so let's kiki in the comments. I love you. I'll see you soon. Thank you for your support. Mwah, 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 mwah.